Amazon is taking old, irreplaceable books, shredding them, ripping them apart, scanning them into the cloud, and then throwing them away. I don't think I have to explain what's wrong with that. We're going to talk about it. Brain rot gets an MRI, and short form video ain't looking very good. And when you're trying to work, and you know how you're in your office or you're at your job, and that one coworker who just will not leave you alone for whatever reason. They want to be your buddy. They want to hang out. We're going to talk about that too. Welcome to the Jay Sheldon Show for a Wednesday. It is indeed Hump Day. We made it halfway through the week. Hope your morning's going good. We're live on Rumble and YouTube. And if you wouldn't mind, it just takes a second, but the stats show that a lot of people who watch this show are not subscribed. Please hit the follow button on Rumble, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. And if you prefer one platform or the other, that's fine. It's the same show on both. But if you want, sign into your YouTube account and go hit that subscribe, and then come back over here to Rumble and hit the follow, and you're good to go. You can watch on either platform. We're live Monday through Friday, for the most part, at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, this is an incredible story and incredibly sad, and something's got to be done. Amazon reportedly cutting the spines off of old, irreplaceable books, scanning the pages at the Las Vegas facility, presumably to train AI models on texts that exist almost nowhere else. These are rare, irreplaceable books. The company will not confirm that's why. Gave some statement which broke the story. It said it purchases books through commercial channels to help develop and improve the products and services our customers use. But what really got everybody's attention was 404 Media's means of discovering that this was happening. Check this out. One of their reporters, Emmanuel Myberg, put an Apple AirTag in a rare book and watched where it went, like a biologist tracking an endangered species. Well, Melberg, a co-founder of 404 Media, has been digging into this topic for a while. He reported in July that booksellers were seeing a massive surge in bulk orders from buyers who didn't haggle about the price. What do you want for the book? $5,000. Done. Here's a check. According to Melberg's latest story, a seller informed him that they'd received an order for about 1,000 books through the marketplace Biblio. Agreed to slip an AirTag supplied by 404 Media into one of them. And 404 Media granted the seller anonymity because the seller was worried that disclosing who they were would hurt their business. No doubt about it. According to the latest story, the book flew out of California Airport to Milwaukee, where it sat for 2 weeks in a distribution warehouse outside Kenosha, Wisconsin. Then it went west by truck, made an overnight stop in Grand Junction, Colorado, before arriving at an Amazon warehouse in Las Vegas, known as LAS 8. As the story recounts, the writer was initially confused. LAS 8 largely is a print-on-demand operation, prints and ships books as customers order them, which is, of course, the opposite of destroying books. But the AirTag put the book at the north end of the building, which Amazon employees who posted on a workers' forum described as an entirely separate operation with its own code, VTG3. Its logo, painted at the entrance, is a T-Rex with an open book in its hands. Employees described a split operation. Some workers cut books, others get them and scan their barcodes. Booksellers told the writer the bulk orders never included the very rarest books, the ones old enough to predate ISBN's numbering system, which suggests the buyers working methodically through the serial numbers assigned to every published book. Now, this technique of journalistic investigation has been around for a long time. The Basel Action Network, Seattle nonprofit, started planting GPS trackers inside old printers and monitors back in 2014, dropped them at a Goodwill, recyclers around the country, and found out where America's electronic waste actually ends up. Over the years, others have adopted the same tactics. ABC News put trackers in plastic bags dropped at Walmart, Target recycling bins in some 10 different states, and Finland's public broadcaster hid them in used clothing to trace where the donated fast fashion actually winds up. But what's different now is the hardware. BAN worked with MIT and used cellular trackers that need a data plan. So Myberg used a $29 Apple AirTag that reports its position by pinging any nearby iPhone. Now, yes, it's possible that the slicing and scanning at Amazon's VGT3 could be for something other than training AI. Amazon's digitized books for 20 over years, going back to search inside the book, but that program runs on files publishers submit themselves. It doesn't require buying used copies on the open market and cutting the spines off the books. Circumstantial evidence all pointing to AI, very, very strong. The point, the books are rare titles, rare, almost irreplaceable titles with almost no resale market. That's exactly what makes them valuable as training data. The text never digitized. The books were printed before the whole AI boom got started. They don't have any of that machine-generated writing. The booksellers who sold the track shipment put it plainly to Mailberg, the writer. The books have historical and sentimental value, and the AI companies are destroying them, and they don't care. Unbelievable. Cutting the spine off, of course, is faster for scanning. It's also the specific act that makes Anthropic's version of this legal. In 2005, June, federal judge ruled that buying printed books, stripping the bindings off of them, and scanning them was fair use because the digital copy replaced an original that no longer existed. Well, of course it no longer existed because you destroyed it. That same ruling went against Anthropic on books that had downloaded from pirated sites. They settled that lawsuit for $1.5 billion. Now, this could be some peculiar project that actually looks nothing like people are speculating about, which only is going to get clear over time. To use some of the favorite phrases inside a company known for being willing to be misunderstood for long periods of time. But in the meantime, it is unbelievably sad. You may have a legal right to do what you're doing, okay? But you do not have a moral right to do what you're doing. It's pretty fascinating to see everyday technology used in a creative way to uncover something that otherwise may never have come to light with these AirTags. These old books are irreplaceable. Irreplaceable. And Amazon is ripping them apart, scanning them into the database for AI, and then shredding the books. Irreplaceable books. We need books, folks. I actually wrote a children's book many, many years ago. It's still available on Amazon, by the way. It's called Willie and the Warthog. It's a very cute little story about tolerance. And it's cool. I love that book. It's available. I believe it's still available on Amazon. You can get a hard copy or an ebook and check it out. I don't have a link, but or if I remember, I'll put that up. And it's a cool little book. It's written about a little boy here in Malaysia and his adventure with a wild warthog. Anyway, when I first got this book published and I got a box full of copies, to hold in your hand a book that you wrote and illustrated, honestly, it's one of the best feelings on earth. It really is. It is so, you're proud, you're amazed. Look, I'm not boasting. The book never sold a whole lot of copies or anything, but it was cute and I love doing it. And it's, like I said, it's still available for sale. But to actually hold a physical copy of a book is an incredible feeling. And there's just something else about the smell of a book, the action of holding the book, turning the pages. And Amazon is just taking these old, irreplaceable books and destroying them, absolutely destroying them, which is sad as hell. Danny says, good morning. I have all the kids on the bus now. What do I do with my extra half hour while I wait for the Jay Shelton show? Oh, I don't know. Make yourself an extra cup of blackout coffee or something like that. Marilyn, good morning. God bless. And Danny says, I forgot what city it was, but I saw an article that said one school was getting rid of Chromebooks and going back to pen and paper. That's what all schools should do. You know, it's amazing how many kids these days don't learn to read and especially write. How many kids today can't write cursive? I remember learning cursive at about, I don't know, maybe the third or fourth grade, maybe third grade with Mrs. Rainville. Yeah. I don't want to be one of those, back in my day, things were better, whatever. But honestly, when you think about it, yeah, things were better. It's just no doubt about it. All right, this is an article from Wired magazine, and it's very good. But because of the way it's written, I'm going to read it as if it were me talking. It's not, it's the writer. And who is the writer? Reese Rogers. All right. Reese says McDonald's built a 515-page dossier on me. And it says, I'll never stop eating there. I requested a copy of my data from McDonald's loyalty program and received an extensive personalized report that algorithmically predicts my next purchase. When I downloaded the McDonald's app years ago, I signed up for its loyalty program, hoping to get better deals. Why not get some cheap French fries? Who could blame you? While I understood this would entail some kind of data tracking, I didn't grasp exactly how that information would be used to algorithmically predict what I was going to buy next. As a California resident, I have the legal right to access the data a company stores about me. So I decided to request that from McDonald's to better understand what one of the major fast food companies is collecting about its customers. Few days after I visited McDonald's Privacy Rights Center, requested a access, I got a 515-page file in my inbox with the iconic Golden Arches logo stamped across the top. Now, when customers sign up for a loyalty program, like the one offered through the McDonald's app, you might not realize the extent to which their data is being aggregated and used in predictive models. McDonald's secret sauce is really commercial surveillance, says Jeff Chester, the executive director at the Center for Digital Democracy, a group that advocates for consumer protection. Privacy experts I spoke with said this level of detail feels invasive, but it's fairly standard for how large companies in the US run their loyalty programs. It ain't just McDonald's, folks. This report contains specific pieces of personal info about you that were identified by searching McDonald's system, which contain information about the customers. It was lengthy, difficult to parse, so I used a generative AI tool to extract key information before verifying details with the original document and reaching out to privacy experts. And the list of what this report, let me just show you a little there you go, look at this. This is part of that. It may be a little small on your screen, so I'll dig into a couple of them. What McDonald's calls it: estimated number of visits during the next 6 weeks. What my data says: 2.16. And what that means: how many times McDonald's expects me to return before mid-September. Average order spent in the next 6 weeks: $13.49, which means when McDonald's expects that I'll spend per order. And it goes on: customer attention, customer group based historical transactions, most transacted occasion type, most visited geographic locations. This just on and on and on. McDonald's takes data privacy and security very seriously. They said, that's a McDonald's spokesman, says we take steps to safeguard customer information. Like a lot of digital loyalty programs, we use information like past purchases to provide a more engaging, personal customer experience, like delivering the most relevant deals, offers, messages. Our customers continue to have privacy choices available to them as outlined in our privacy statement. That's the word from McDonald's. A lot of that data contains very detailed information about past McDonald's transaction, as well as offers the fast food companies sent me and how many loyalty points I accumulated. Essentially, every time I open the app to grab a bite, it creates a detailed report about where, when, and what I purchased. And the log was even more thorough than anybody anticipated, including a record of every time I scanned a code as part of its returning Monopoly sweepstakes, along with whatever prize I received. Now, beyond the numbers, McDonald's also tracked a large Diet Coke as my favorite drink to repeatedly purchase. And it labeled my core purchasing habits as getting a food led afternoon snack or, quote, on the go lunch in a rush. Food led snack? Okay. Notably, the report listed the writer's attrition score as 0, which means Ronald McDonald sees her as a lifelong customer who is never going to stop grabbing French fries and a soda on the walk home. More than 500 pages of data collected on this woman. You going through the drive-through, you're using the kiosk, the app, you are in their ecosystem. They have a bunch of people with letters after their name trying to design it in a way that maximizes profit, of course. This power imbalance is impacting you users rather than benefiting customers with sweet deals or loyalty programs that can all be used for what basically amounts to long-term surveillance. Unbelievable. So if you've got that McDonald's app on your phone, just remember all that data is being collected on you, whether you like it or not. I'm telling you. Well, this happened a couple days ago, but we missed a day, so I didn't get till now, and it pleases me to no end. Former idiot CNN journalist Don Lemon, who's basically Don Lemon, released following an arrest after the Minnesota protest. And he says, I will not be silenced. Yeah, how about shut up, Don? Nobody gives a crap. Don Lemon and 8 others charged in connection with an incident in which anti-ICE protesters disrupted a service at a Minnesota church, according to the federal indictment which was released on Friday of last week. Lemon and others charged with conspiracy against rights of religious freedom and attempt to injure while exercising religious freedom in this 2-count indictment. All this, of course, you've got to be familiar with this story, but just in case, January 18th, protesters entered the city's church in St. Paul. They were one of the pastors, and they said, was acting in the field director of the St. Paul ICE field office. Protesters were chanting, "Justice for Renee Good," inside the church. Now, this incident alleges that the 9 defendants oppressed, threatened, and intimidated the church's congregants and pastors. Folks, it's on video. Yes, they did. By occupying the space in the main aisle, the rows of chairs near the front of the church, engaging in menacing and threatening behavior. The indictment also alleges that Lemon physically obstructed congregants as they tried to leave the church. This incident, which includes a whole lot of references to Lemon's video of the incident, says the journalist told viewers the whole point was to disrupt operations. Well, now you're going to pay the price, Donnie. Attorney General Pam Bondi said on social media Lemon, Minnesota-based journalist Georgia Fort, and 2 others were arrested Friday at her direction. 3 additional people previously arrested in connection with the protest. Bondi said social media last week, "We, in all caps, we do not tolerate attacks on places of worship." Lemon at the protest as an independent journalist. Donnie, you ain't a journalist, okay? You're an absolute egomaniac freak. He posted the video to his Instagram the 18th, January, showed protesters yelling, as well as his interviews with churchgoers and protesters. Lemon said on the video, "We're not part of the activists, but we're just here reporting on them." The judge allowed Lemon to be released on his own recognizance without bail. Brief remarks outside the courthouse. Not that anyone cares what Donnie has to say, but he said he was arrested for something I've been doing for the last 30 years, covering the news, and then vowed he won't stop doing that work. Instead of investigating the federal agents, this is a quote from Lemon's attorney, the federal agents who killed two peaceful Minnesota protesters. The Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this case, calling the arrest an attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing the administration. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, Donnie. Now you're being charged, and now, hopefully, you're gonna pay. And I couldn't be happier. Unbelievable. Oh, that's good. A hot, fresh, full bodied, full flavored, never bitter cup of blackout coffee. Oh, yeah, blackout coffee, simply the best coffee. I know everybody says that, but this is true, and there have been thousands and thousands of five-star reviews of this amazing coffee. They work with local co ops and American farmers to grow the best premium beans. And of course, Blackout Coffee is an all American company. They have flavored coffees, instant pods. They've got all kinds of great cold brewed coffees. It's all fantastic. If you can't grind your own whole beans, you can choose on all their popular roasts to have them grind them for you. Now, here's the one of the secrets of this operation. They have a small batch roasting process. That means they only roast your beans after you place your order and then ship them out within 24 to 48 hours. That's freshness. And that is why Blackout always has that rich, full bodied, full flavored coffee, but is never ever bitter. Folks, this coffee is just simply to die for. Check it out. Order yourself a single bag. Pick your favorite roast. Mine is their rich black espresso because I love it as strong as it can be. And just order a single bag, give it a try. If you're a first time customer, you use the code J20, JAY20, and that will get you 20% off your first order. Plus, Blackout Coffee is always having sales over there. Use the link down in our show notes over there. Just pull down that description. You'll see Blackout Coffee. Go place an order, get yourself a bag, give it a try, and I promise you'll be back for more because this stuff is remarkable coffee. Absolutely incredible. All right. Brain rot is getting an MRI, and guess what? Not like really this should surprise anybody, but short form video don't look very good. In fact, it looks bad. You know what short form video is? It's the shorts you see when you go on to YouTube or whatever it might be. Let me just here, I'll call up my own my own YouTube page and let's pop over there. And so you see there's all the different things that you can watch. And there you go. There's the shorts right there. So there's Vegas Matt, who I love. I watch him all the time. If you like gambling and slot machines, check out Vegas Matt. He's a crazy guy, got a great team. I'm a regular fan every single day. All right. So anyway, these short form videos are what I'm talking about. Well, we got ourselves a bit of a problem. Millennials, Gen Z, they've spent years joking about brain rot, and anyone who loses an evening to TikTok or another social media platform, now you've got active brain scans. Check this out. Researchers at Zhejiang University in China recruited 60 young adults to participate in a short video experiment. About 56 of their scans out of 66 survived initial quality control. Young adults had an average of age of 23, all watched or experienced short-term video before. Now, nobody had to be taught the ancient art of swiping away something that's boring to them. Now, before each viewing session, researchers measured the glutamate, which is the brain's gas, and the GABA, the brain's brakes. They measured the levels in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex. The participants were then asked to watch 2 to 6 minute videos drawn from a library of 160 clips and including categories like pets, games, nature, and people performing different tasks. They were given a button to skip whenever they got bored. Videos that people watched all the way to the end were classified as liked. Those who swiped away before the halfway point classified as disliked. And researchers, now this is very cool, they found a clear difference in scans when viewers watched the entire clip they enjoyed. Liked videos were associated with significant deactivation in both the gas and the brakes in the brain. I mean, it lists the DACC and the DIPFC, but I'm just basically making it simple. The gas and the brakes. The gas, which is the part of your brain that says, oh no, the brakes rather, the part of your brain that says, hey, put the phone down. The dorsolateral prefrontal cortex is the part that actually makes you put it down. That part handles attention, working memory, and self-control. But during the preferred videos, the ones that liked, both areas didn't just go quiet. They dropped below their resting baseline. They were almost non-existent. The video was getting through, but nobody was home. Glutamate offers some defense. The volunteers with higher resting levels showed less suppression, suggesting some people's brains are just simply better equipped to keep their warning lights on and resist the urge to keep swiping. But the GABA levels had no such relationship. Researchers noted increased connectivity between the gas and the brakes, particularly when volunteers watched their favorite clips. Social media did what social media does. Polymarket, just in, scientific study reveals TikTok videos deactivate key cognitive brain regions. Now, this experiment did not test TikTok. They used pre-recorded clips on smartphones with no app history, no For You page. Videos, pets, games, scenery, and people doing things in which, in fairness, covers a large amount of what you would see on TikTok. But it don't look good. The long-term consequences of video viewing include deactivation remains to be explored. Young people sitting through 15 minutes of boredom to get away from constant digital stimulation. That new study makes that idea seem just a little less silly. Brain rot, still a joke, not a medical diagnosis, but this study found that short term video people, like temporarily reduced activity in brain regions, listen to this, tied to self control and knowing when to stop. Think about it. Scary, scary stuff. Danny, this summer we took YouTube shorts away from the kids. Literal brain rot. I saw a difference. We also stopped dumb videos, and if they want TV, it better be an actual show. That is likely the best thing you could have done. Absolutely. Unbelievable. Let us head out to the always entertaining, only slightly less than Florida state of California. Because California's war on drivers is speeding up. And now, guess what they're coming for? Your tires. Yeah. I gotta think, and I've said this before, that California lawmakers have got to wake up in the morning and say, how can I make California even worse? Is there possibly a way to get more people to leave? Now, it's a rhetorical question. The answer, of course, is yes. And the regulators are as bad or worse than actually the lawmakers. Virtually every single thing in California is regulated to the teeth. Costs for gas, food, rent, daily life, unbelievably, frighteningly high. And then you get massive taxation to top it all off. In their latest bid to punish the populace and drive yet more people out of the state, they're coming after your tires. Newsom wants to take us back into the 19th century, save us from a supposed climate crisis. We'd have no chance of controlling it if it proved to be true, and has already moved to ban gasoline-powered cars by 2035. You know the bullshit. Now regulators want to take 70% of tires off the market. Oh, yeah. Of course, they say they're protecting consumers. The move is going to ultimately bring down costs. That's what they say. But, of course, they always say that when they're simply trying to clamp down on your freedom. It's never, ever true. They actually say this crap with a straight face. Listen. In a unanimous vote, the California Energy Commission voted to adopt new rules that will phase out the sale of replacement tires that don't meet certain energy efficiency standards. David Huthschild, the chairman of the California Energy Commission, said, ultimately, this is about protecting consumers. I see this as sheltering the public from higher costs in the long run. Oh, it's for your safety. Yeah. So is the COVID death shot. Of course, the reality is something entirely different. Always strapped consumers going to pay more for a simple California necessity like the wheels on your car. Prim, Nevada, which sits on the state line with California, will see a huge surge in action at its Terrible's gas station. Wait till opens a 50-bay tire center in Prim, Nevada, right across the line from California. It is going to be nutso. Something called rolling resistance is how much energy it takes to keep a tire moving down the road. Lower resistance means cars use less gas or less electricity. I don't actually have to go into the details. I don't actually care. The bottom line is that they found yet another way to introduce into your life and make decisions for you. If I want a high-end tire, I'll buy a damned high-end tire. It's none of your freaking business. You ever wonder who's behind these power grabs? Sometimes it's an unscrupulous hair gel dude, but often also an AWFL Karen scold. California Energy Commission Nancy Skinner, listen to this crap. After the vote, they asked Skinner if she pushed the rulemaking process around tires. And she didn't answer the question, of course, directly, but said it was a joint effort with other commissioners. Quote, if I'd been on the commission 20 years ago, maybe it wouldn't have taken so long, she said. And when asked why CEC didn't act on the legislation over 2 decades, she said, well, there may not have been those cost pressures. The CEC has never regulated tires. This now is the first state to create such a rule. Picture the Wicked Witch of the West running an HOA, and that's what the progressive movement comes down to. A bunch of envious scolds who never met a part of your life they didn't want to regulate. And they keep doing it. I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. Unbelievable. Block cameras. Yep, we're going to talk about it again because it's happening again. From California to Florida, from the sublime to the ridiculous. Do you hear that rain, by the way? It is a monsoon out there. Unbelievable, it's so loud. I don't know if it's coming through the microphone or not. I've got some of the noise suppression software running, so that's possible. But man, I'm telling you, it's bad. It is thundering down. All right, a Florida cop allegedly used flock cameras 717 times to track his estranged wife. Oh, yeah. How nice. Haines City, Florida police officer got pretty good thing going. Government-funded surveillance, no warrant required, and an estranged wife who had no idea whatsoever she was being watched. Investigators say he searched for her vehicles hundreds of times over 2 years. The officer, Christopher Goodson, 31 years old, placed under arrest August 11th. Investigators say he searched for his estranged wife's vehicle 717 times in the flock safety database between September 1st, 2024 and June 30th, 2026. Some searches were made while he was on duty, others made while he was off duty, according to the arrest affidavit. They started to investigate Goodson when he went to a supervisor, according to the affidavit. He had received a text saying his estranged wife had been contacted by reporters about his use of Flock. Goodson acknowledged making what he described as several searches of her vehicle, acknowledging that he had done that, and investigators found quite a bit more than several searches. Records show he searched the vehicle 86 times in August of 2025, 280 times in September. It just goes on and on. He allegedly accessed the system using a police department laptop and a cell phone. A review of police and court records found at least 50 officers have been charged with or accused of using license readers, flock cameras, for unauthorized purposes. That number's grown since this review was first published. Flock involved in 46 of those cases, out of 46 out of 50. You have pros and cons. We got to have an answer as to our views on it. People need to know what's going on, whether this system is flawed, which, here's a hint, it is. But the answer matters. If the admin sides with Flock, it owns every future misuse case. If it pushes for restrictions, hands an unexpected win to privacy advocates on the right and the left. Either way, the White House is not going to be able to ignore this. Something has got to be done. In Goodson's case, investigators say the searches continued even though his estranged wife was not under criminal investigation. 717 times. Come on. Unbelievable. Hey, Patriot Mobile, a absolute amazing Christian conservative cell phone service provider that you need to be signed up for if you believe in those same things that I believe in. The First and Second Amendment, the right to life. Patriot Mobile is the way to go.
When you choose Patriot Mobile, you're not just picking a wireless provider. You're choosing a company that shares your values. It's easy to switch, and you can keep your number, your phone, and most importantly, your values. With Patriot Mobile, you get the power of nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks. That means wherever life takes you, we've got you covered on the same reliable networks you already know and trust. And when you need us, we're here for you right here at home. Our customer service is 100% US-based because we believe that support should come from people who understand you and your values. At Patriot Mobile, you're not just another call, you're a priority. In today's world, where you spend your money matters more than ever, every dollar is a vote for the kind of future you want to build. Join the thousands of Americans making a difference with every call, every text, and every connection. Choose a company that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
PatriotMobile.com/J, Jay. Keep your phone number. Nothing changes except, every company makes donations from parts of their profit to different groups. But do you really know where your money's going? You should. And Patriot Mobile is a Christian conservative network that does not fund the left at all, not one dime. And you should feel good knowing that. They've got a customer service staff there that's all US based. They're there to help you find a plan that will fit your budget. They're fantastic people over there. We've had some great reviews about it from our viewers and folks who have made the switch. You use that link in our show notes, our description down below here, or it's simple, patriotmobile.com/J, Jay. And if you sign up using that link, your first month is free. Yep, I'm paying the bill for the first month at Patriot Mobile. What a deal. PatriotMobile.com/J. The left. It's all about you know what? The left has no idea what we on the right believe about babies, or actually just about anything else. Their chatter about fertility rates was never about happy families or a prosperous nation. Republicans will gladly sacrifice happiness and prosperity for the goal of subjugating women. That's what Marcotte writes. Molly Hemingway is a vicious sexist who hates women and wants to hurt them. She's demanding that they not have any careers and spend their whole lives barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Watch where this kind of amazing argument comes from, because it tells us a lot about the endless weirdness of leftist politics in the 21st century. A lot of observers argue the left has no theory of the mind of us on the right, conclusion that draws on the work of social psychologist Jonathan Haidt. When leftists attack conservative views, they can't quite pull it off because mainly they don't know what they're arguing against. They don't have the vocabulary. They spend their lives fighting their projections in some kind of a misconception guess. They spend their lives doing that, endlessly demonstrating an unbelievable capacity for misinterpretation. Do you remember this? I can only play a little brief piece of it under fair use, but you'll know what I'm talking about. Watch.
These cans are defective. They're springing leaks. Come over here, look at this.
Listen, you better run for cover. You're gonna spring a leak.
Huh?
We don't have defective cans. We have a defective person out there.
He hates these cans.
He hates these cans. You've all seen that video, I'm sure. Slogan chanting journalists struggling like with a drowning man in the face of arguments they can't begin to perceive, trying to make a statement, turn it into what they think it is. You'll hear this. What you're saying is ... Speaking with somebody who doesn't chant the ritual slogans, they try to channel the discussion into the grooves they make for it. They've been carved into their minds, years of endless, mindless compliance on the left. When AOC announced she plans to freeze her eggs so she can possibly one day buy her own baby from a medical company as a product, conservative writers, especially conservative writers who are mothers, wrote that she was making a bad choice. At The Federalist, Katie Faust wrote about the pleasures of family, describing the fun she and her husband had with their kids. They grew up knowing that children weren't an interruption to the good life. Children were the good life. Chasing those same themes of connection, pursuit of a satisfying life, Jordan Boyd wrote about the cost and complications of medicalized pregnancy, comparing it unfavorably to the old-fashioned kind. On video, AOC was seeking control over her life by buying fertility. In fact, Boyd wrote, she's chasing a very pricey illusion of control, one that can fail. In the context of choice, suggests a significant social decline. The conservative critique of frozen eggs among women, turning to IVF as a lifestyle choice rather than a medical solution to some impaired fertility problem. It's an argument about connections, social ties, humanity, pleasure, the meaning of the family. They're talking about ways to escape social atomization and the thing Stella Morabito has called the weaponization of loneliness. Buying a baby out of the freezer. It isn't as much fun as making a baby. The conservative argument about families and babies is an argument about living well. You'll like it. Trust me. It's a way of living that offers endless pleasure. But you'd rather do the politically correct thing. Okay, one more. We've all had that coworker who just for whatever reason will not leave you alone. They're always, maybe they bring you cookies or a cup of coffee at work. They're always sucking up to you. They're hanging out. You're trying to do your job, and that coworker just won't leave you alone, which is kind of like this. Come on, dude. I'm just trying to do my job. He won't go away. Oh, man. All right, we're done. Thank you for popping by on a Wednesday. It is great to have you. Thanks. Please, if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're on Rumble, hit follow. If you want to donate to the show to help keep our lights on and keep things going here, you can do that at our PayPal link, which is down there. Perfectly safe, 100% secured. You can use a credit card or your bank account and give us a donation there. And, of course, all of our great sponsors, Ground News, Patriot Mobile, Blackout Coffee, they're all listed there. Thanks again, and we will be back again tomorrow for the Thursday edition of The Jay Sheldon Show.